This evening on ENN Tonight, the race to the White House between Democratic candidate Kamala Harris and Republican candidate Donald Trump. 270 votes are needed to win.
We have an opportunity in this election to turn the page on a decade of Donald Trump trying to keep us divided and afraid of each other. We're done with that. We're done.
But on Tuesday, you have to stand up and tell Harris that you've had enough. You can't take it anymore. You're the worst vice president in the history of our country.
ENN's Fiona McAllister has the presidential race updates for you tonight. Our Charlotte Fabi will update you on local elections from the Board of Education all the way to the Alamance County Board of Commissioners. And Abby Gravely will interview live guests and give social media recaps. With several reporters in the field, we will update you all night long. It all starts right now. Thank you for joining us for ENN Election Center. I'm Abigail Hines. Tonight, ENN will produce two 45-minute segments. We are focusing on results for local, state, and national races for both major parties. But there are third-party and unaffiliated candidates on the ballot in Alamance County for 6 different races. Third-party candidates have impacted the results of races in recent elections, including the 2016 presidential race. But no third-party candidate has won the presidency since 1856. Let's start by checking in on ENN's Olivia Berger, who is at Elon Elementary School, one of Alamance County's 39 polling locations. Olivia, what have you seen so far tonight?
Thank you, Abigail. I'm here at Elon Elementary School, which is one of Alamance County's polling locations. As mentioned, there are 39 polling locations in Alamance County. Alamance County is divided into 2 districts. The town of Elon and Elon University are represented by North Carolina House District 63, while Southern Alamance County is located in District 64. However, Elon University is actually split into 2 different precincts, and students looking to vote can go to the North Carolina Board of Elections polling place. You can search their website to check where your polling location should be, and you should do that before coming out to the polls. We've seen a steady but small flow of voters since arriving here just a few hours ago, and there are still some making their way in now. Polls have been open since 6:30 this morning and will close at 7:30 p.m. That means voting will close in about 30 minutes from now, so there is still time to vote. North Carolina State Board of Elections states if you are already in line by 7:30, you will be able to cast your ballot. So if you're at home watching, still debating if you should come and vote, as long as you are in line by 7:30, you will be able to do so. If you've not voted yet, remember that you will need to show your ID when you check in to vote. Since 2023, photo ID has been required to cast your ballot, so make sure you have an acceptable photo ID. Some acceptable forms include a North Carolina driver's license, a North Carolina state ID, a U.S. passport or passport card, a North Carolina voter photo identification card, or a college or university student ID approved by the State Board of Elections. Many people here are eager to see how North Carolina will play its part in the national outcome. North Carolina has 16 electoral votes and has historically been known as a swing state. It may be a defining factor in who wins the presidential election tonight. Voters are also anxiously waiting to see how the election will affect their own home state. For those watching at home, you can expect updates on the early results shortly after the polls close tonight, but remember, some races may be too close to call right away, and patience will be key. Reporting live from Elon Elementary, I'm Olivia Berger. Back to you in the studio.
Thanks, Olivia. As the polls opened this morning, members of the local Elon community went to vote at First Baptist Church of Elon. I went to speak to some of these voters this morning and have more on what they had to say. Starting this morning at 6:30, local community members cast their ballots at First Baptist Church of Elon.
We're excited. It's election day.
As voters walked in to cast their votes, campaign signs dotted their paths. Candidate for Alamance County Board of Commissioners, Carissa Graves, stopped by the polling location.
I'm checking on all the polls. This is an exciting day. I got a lot of volunteers out here. We're going to try to make this thing happen.
Voters were also met by local community members and officials handing out voter guides and information.
I'm here with the Alamance County Democrat Party, and I'm passing out the Democrat simple ballot and the candidates that were endorsed by the Democrats.
For some voters, the voting experience wasn't only for them.
I promised my grandson, because we'd been been talking a lot about voting and things of that and how important it is. So since he was off school today for teacher work day, we decided to come and then go have some breakfast together.
According to Pew Research, about 8 in 10 registered voters say the economy will be very important to their vote in the 2024 presidential election. For Catherine Edwards, it's one of the most important factors in her vote.
Our economy is really bad, and I'd like to see some improvements again.
Elon students also visited the polls this morning, like Elon senior Ryan Elad, the president of Elon College Democrats.
I'm out here today voting with the intention of trying to help prevent that decay of democracy and help ensure that the American experiment can continue on.
Charlotte Fabi, ENN Tonight. Many of the voters at First Baptist Church of Elon also stressed the importance of voting for local candidates.
With us tonight in studio is our Fiona McAllister. Fiona, who are some of the candidates we can be looking out for?
Thanks so much, Abigail. Tonight we'll be seeing possibly two of the most popular faces in politics right now and their fight for this presidential spot. Right now, Kamala Harris is currently the 49th Vice President of the United States and the Democratic nominee, but has been working hard on her campaign for presidency since July. She says a big part of her life is coming from the middle class, so she plans to work on cutting taxes for middle-class Americans. Being able to strengthen Medicare and supporting abortion rights are important policies Harris plans to put forward if office. And over here we have the 45th President of the United States and Republican nominee Donald Trump. When Trump was in office, his notable policies were beginning the U.S.-Mexico border wall and implementing tax cuts. He also appointed 3 Supreme Court justices. For the future, he'll be focusing hard on deportation, no tax on tips, and a huge one, inflation. Now for the House of Representatives, District 9. We have William Bristow in North Carolina candidates, the House of Representatives. In District 9, we will be seeing this New York Democrat Nigel Bristow and Republican Richard Hudson. Fighting for this seat, Bristow looks to raise the minimum wage and codifying Roe v. Wade, meaning to create a federal law with the same principles of the original court case. Hudson, on the other hand, who was first elected in 2013 and is chairman for the National Republican Congressional Committee, is working to cut federal spending and support veterans. Now for Attorney General, we'll be seeing Jeff Jackson in the Democratic spot and Dan Bishop in the Republican spot. Bishop represented North Carolina's 8th District in the House of Representatives and worked as a state senator. One pressing issue Bishop made and his name known with was authoring the 2016 bathroom bill, a policy that requires people to use the bathroom based on their biological sex on their birth certificate. And Jackson represents North Carolina's 14th District in the House of Representatives. Along with being in state senate for 8 years, he aims to combat the fentanyl epidemic and wants to reform the redistricting process to avoid gerrymandering districts. Now for North Carolina State Senate District 25, we'll be seeing Donna Van Hook, who is actually a 2007 Elon alum, and Amy Gailey running the Republican spot. She's a supporter of public school funding and sponsored the Parents' Bill of Rights, which means that from kindergarten to 4th grade, any child with a pronoun or name changes that tells their teacher this information, the teacher must let that child's parents know. In her past term, Gailey secured funding for her district for the 2021 to 2022 budget. Her opponent is actually class of 2007 Elon alum Donna Van Hook. Van Hook is running for the Democratic Party and is the county's soil and water district supervisor. She wants to do away with the private voucher system and instead put more funding toward public schools. In an opposite fashion of her rival, Van Hook is looking to repeal the Parents' Bill of Rights. Now for House of Representatives District 64, we will be seeing LaVon Barnes and Dennis Riddle. LaVon will be running in the Democratic spot and Riddle will be running in the Republican spot. So Riddle is running for the 7th term and is looking to lower income taxes and protect the Second Amendment. He hopes to organize a convention of states, meaning that the states can propose amendments for the U.S. Constitution, and the Democratic candidate is LaVon Barnes. Barnes is previously ran for 2 positions in Durham County but lost both. Barnes supports funding for public schools and abortion rights. He is also against funding vouchers and for students to attend private schools. Now in the House of Representatives District 63, we will be seeing Robin Winterham and Stephen Ross. So Robin Winterham is on the Democratic side and Ross is on the Republican. So both are Elon alum, with Winterham being a Elon Law alum First time running for Winteringham for office, she looks to provide affordable housing and improve local public schools. With no clear stance on gun control, she still wants to provide better mental health counseling in schools to prevent the risk of school shootings. And Ross, who is an Elon alum, is represented District 63 from 2013 to 2021. He sponsored the Shalom Act, which includes critiques of Israel within the definition of anti-Semitism. Along with the Shalom Act, Ross has previously sponsored legislation that looks to develop human trafficking training. That's all I have on these candidates so far. We'll be checking back in with you later with more updates as the night goes on.
Elon's South Gym has been a popular voting location for students and Alamance County locals alike. ENN's Alice Morrissey spoke to the poll workers responsible for keeping things running smoothly as ballots are being placed.
We believe in, always helping out. We believe in diversity, equity, and inclusion. And so what better way to volunteer and to help my fellow man out than doing something like this?
Around 1 million people have volunteered at polling locations nationwide, according to an estimate from the United States AmericanProcess.org. With a variety of roles, from assisting voters to helping people register and providing general information, these volunteers are at the center of a successful election.
We hand out sample ballots, Democratic sample ballots, to people that would like them and explain the ballot to them and help them, give them some voter education. So not how to vote, but the process of voting.
With the South Gym polling location being located on Elon's campus, it serves as a homecoming for some volunteers.
I'm a political science major from Elon back in the Stone Age.
Alan Page graduated from Elon with the class of '81, even running for State House as a senior. After recently retiring from a career in politics, Page hopes his work at the polls will encourage young people to get involved.
They should do it. They should show the interest because they have no one to blame but themselves if they don't get active. Either liberal, conservative, whatever. Everybody should be active.
Alice Morrissey, ENN Tonight.
10 minutes away, both Alamance County Republicans and Alamance County Democrats are hosting watch parties for the community. ENN's Kathan Gandhi and Mackenzie Cruz are at the watch party seeing how they were planned.
Yeah, thanks, Abigail. Right now, I'm calling from outside the Alamance County Republican Watch Party, just currently at Cadillac Ranch in Burlington, North Carolina. Now, Elon News Network did not receive permission to report from inside the watch party, so we might not be hearing from the Alamance Republicans tonight. What I can tell you is that those Republicans have been doing a lot of work over the past few months in preparation for the election today. That's things like rallying to grow support for local candidates, raising political awareness amongst young first-time Alamance County voters, and welcoming multiple statewide Republican candidates, including Dan Bishop, who is running for NC Attorney General. And the last big push before Election Day, the party brought Mark Robinson to Elon's very own Ace Speedway on Sunday, November 3rd, in an event called Rally to Victory. Alamance Republicans hope that these types of buzzer-beater events will help pave the path to success and push additional Republican candidates like NC Secretary of State nominee Chad Brown and NC Superintendent nominee Michelle Morrow across the finish line. After all that work is completed now, all these members can do is sit at the ranch and wait, looking to see those efforts pay off tonight. I'm Kathan Gandhi reporting live from outside the Alamance County Republican Party Watch Party. Now, let's kick it over to Mackenzie Cruz.
Thank you, Kathan. I'm reporting live from the Democratic Watch Party here in downtown Burlington. It's hosted by the Alamance County Democratic Party here at Occasions Restaurant. There are about 130 people set to attend once the polls close. We'll be keeping up with the Democratic candidate for the presidential election, Kamala Harris, as well as more local races such as Josh Stein for North Carolina Governor, Nigel Bristow for North Carolina House of Reps 9th District, Rachel Hunt for Lieutenant Governor, Jeff Jackson for Attorney General, and more. Alamance County Democrats has been very involved with this campaign. For the past few months, they've gone canvassing door to door, registering voters, and educating citizens about issues important to them. Its website and headquarters in downtown Burlington are great resources for voter registration, absentee ballot information, volunteering opportunities, and more. ACDP has also been very active with Elon students. They had events such as Walk to the Polls, where they walked Elon students from Alamance Fountain to South Gym for an early voting location. Elon News Network also attended an event on October 19th at their headquarters where they had phone banking, where volunteers called voters to discuss the campaign they support, get donations, and register more volunteers. Josh Stein also attended this event to encourage volunteers and discuss policy issues if he were to be elected governor. I'm here with Heidi Norwick, a volunteer for the ACDP. Heidi, why is being involved here at the Watch Party important to you?
Well, volunteering for the Democratic Party is important to me. I've lived in Alamance County almost 32 years. I've seen a lot in this county, and I think we have a lot of things we can change, and I was just pleased that I had the time to be able to give.
That's awesome. And how has the ACDB been a useful resource for this election season?
Oh, it's been tremendous. And from giving, signs out, we have people canvassing, writing postcards, and it's a central hub where anybody that is interested in helping, they can come to the office or go to our website, and it's just been a phenomenal response.
That's awesome. Is there anything else you'd like to add?
Just that I love my county, I love the people here, and I'm excited for tonight's results.
Awesome. Thank you so much for speaking with me. I'm live from the Democratic Watch Party. It's Mackenzie Cruz. And let's hear from Abby Hines back in the studio.
No vehicle, no problem. Elon students can still get to polling locations via the Elon Votes shuttle program located in the Center for the Arts. Currently, 14 students have taken the shuttle. Allison Durand, Elon Votes Director of Outreach, says the program is important for helping Elon students utilize their right to vote.
14 people today, then we did our mission. If we only served one, then that's great. If 100 more people show up, that's awesome. I know a lot of students voted early. I know a lot voted by mail, and I know quite a few people that took their own vehicles to the polls today. So it's just important that we're here and we're present and we're getting rid of any barrier that keeps students from going to vote.
Shuttles are free of charge to students and are open until 8 p.m. tonight. As ballots are being cast, there are dozens of local elections underway. ENN's Charlotte Fabi is here in studio to give you all you need to know for these local elections.
Thanks, Abigail. Throughout the night, I'll be keeping you updated on key local races, including the highly watched election for the Alamance-Burlington School System Board of Education. This year, a lot of focus is on how candidates for the Board of Education plan to address the lingering deficit from the mold crisis that disrupted the start of the 2023 school year. 32 of its 36 schools were affected by mold, and with the district still reeling from this financial impact of the crisis, the candidates are all proposing different solutions to get the system out of debt. The Board of Education is made up of 7 total members and currently has 4 open seats, but there are 8 candidates that are vying for those 4 positions. Among the incumbents running for re-election are Board Chair Sandy Ellington Graves, Donna Davis Westbrook, and Seneca Rogers. They're facing off against some fresh faces in the race, including Tamika Harvey, Peter Morcombe, Tara Raggett, and Corey Shepard and Avery Wagner. Wagner, who previously ran for the ABSS board in 2022 but did not win, is making another bid this year. His campaign is centered around the idea of ensuring that no child is left behind, a slogan he uses to highlight his commitment to improving educational opportunities for all students. Meanwhile, Corey Shepard is also a first-time candidate and has been vocal about her concerns with current district policies. She argues that the emphasis on diversity, equity, and inclusion, or DEI, is hindering teachers' ability to do their jobs effectively. Shepard believes that in order to get ABSS out of its current $3.5 million deficit, she would prioritize cutting administrative roles rather than reducing teaching staff or academic programs. I will continue to update you with what you need to know about this race as it develops, but for now, that's all I have. Back to you at the desk.
Elon University is part of a national study known as the National Study of Learning, Voting, and Engagement. The NSLVE provides universities with a variety of information regarding voting rates of students. Let's take a look at the numbers from the last presidential election. The voting rate is the percentage of eligible students who cast their ballots. In 2020, Elon University's voting rate was 74%, while the average institutional voting rate was only 66%. Compared to 2016, Elon's voting rate increased by 25.2 percentage points, which is equivalent to about 1,850 students. Another category they look at is the voting method. In 2016, Elon University reported 11 in-person early voters. In 2020, that number rose to 735. The North Carolina State Board of Elections has already reported an increase in early voting numbers across the state for this year's election. More than 4.2 million voters in North Carolina cast their ballot during the in-person voting period, which ended Saturday. By contrast, only 3.6 million North Carolinians voted early in 2020. Each report is released about 18 months after the election, so you can expect to see this election's report in May of 2026. North Carolina has two candidates running for governor: Republican candidate North Carolina Lieutenant Governor Mark Robinson and Democratic candidate North Carolina Attorney General Josh Stein. ENN's Nia Bedard is joining us live from City Club Raleigh, where Mark Robinson is making an appearance tonight. Nia, has the event started? We apologize for the technical difficulties. With our current Lieutenant Governor in the race for governor, there are two new candidates running to fill his spot. Lieutenant Governor is the second highest elected official in North Carolina. It's also the only elected official to have powers in both the legislative and executive branches of state government. Lieutenant Governor serves as president of the State Senate and is a member of the State Board of Education. When it comes to our candidates, policies on schools and education are highly discussed. Republican candidate Hal Weatherman previously served as Chief of Staff for Lieutenant Governor Dan Forest. According to his website, Weatherman believes schools should be less concerned with advancing cultural agendas and more focused on teaching life skills. Weatherman also says he wants to promote economic growth in all areas of the state by supporting North Carolina companies. Democratic candidate Rachel Hunt has previously served in the North Carolina House of Representatives and more recently the North Carolina Senate. According to her website, Hunt prioritizes investing in public schools and advocating for women, children, and families by making childcare and healthcare more affordable. We will continue to give updates on this race as more results come in. And we are sending it back to Nia Bedard.
Thank you, Abigail. As you can see, I am here in City Club in downtown Raleigh, where current Lieutenant Governor Mark Robinson is holding a watch party for the gubernatorial race, which will determine if North Carolina achieves a state government trifecta with supermajority. This occurs when one political party holds the governorship and two-thirds majority in the State House and State Senate. Robinson was elected as Lieutenant Governor during the 2020 election and announced his campaign in Elon, North Carolina just a year and a half ago. Prior to Robinson becoming Lieutenant Governor, he served in the United States Army Reserve. According to an Eastern Carolina University poll that was released on November 4th, Robinson is polling 15% behind Democrat candidate and Attorney General Josh Stein, who has been polling higher than Robinson since Labor Day. A spokesperson for the Robinson campaign, Matt Hurley, said that this will be a closer race than polls are predicting, and brought up how difficult North Carolina historically is a difficult state to predict election outcomes for. Robinson made a stop in Elon on November 3rd, where he encouraged his supporters to vote Republican down the ballot, saying, "The people are tired of this. They are tired of the brokenness, they are tired of the status quo, and they are tired of sticker book politicians like Josh Stein." Robinson also spent today traveling to polling locations across the Triad and Triangle to drum up support for him on Election Day. If Robinson is elected tonight, he will be the first Black person to serve as North Carolina's governor. Throughout his campaign, Robinson has been advocating for cutting taxes for all North Carolinians, a 6-week abortion ban with exceptions for rape and incest, and reducing violent crime in North Carolina. Here at City Club, there are very few people in the top room where I'm currently located. There are around 20 people located in an outside room wearing their Mark Robinson gear and awaiting the Lieutenant Governor to give his speech of victory or secession. Polls are still currently open and will be open in North Carolina till at the latest 8 p.m. No call has been made yet in this election.
Thanks, Nia, for the update. From Instagram to X, Abby Gravely now joins us in the newsroom to discuss how the social media world is reacting to the night. Abby, what have you seen so far?
Thank you, Abigail. As you can see here behind me, there is a lot going on social media this evening as candidates are posting. This is in line with a lot of what we've been seeing so far in this election cycle, where candidates are posting on social media a lot of times to get out that youth vote. We have seen this with the 3 TikTok accounts that Kamala Harris's campaign holds, as well as the 1 that Donald Trump's campaign holds. So what we're seeing right now is a lot of final reminders to vote and reminders from candidates to stay in line when those polls close, because if you are in line, you can stay in line. There's also some final appeals to maybe undecided voters from some of our, especially third-party candidates, such as Jill Stein of the Green Party right here. Throughout this evening, we've also been seeing celebrity endorsements through social media. Kamala Harris is endorsed by celebrities including Taylor Swift, Beyonce, and Oprah, who posted earlier today that she cast her ballot for Kamala Harris. Donald Trump, on the other hand, is endorsed by celebrities such as Elon Musk, Dr. Phil, and Jake Paul, who posted a 20-minute YouTube video about urging his audience to vote for Donald Trump. That's all I have for you right now. Now back to you in the desk.
Their vote for the first time. And stay tuned for ENN's voter focus group with different perspectives from 3 students.
I've seen violence. I have seen straight up blatant disrespect and being rude towards people just for having a different view than themselves.
For most Elon students, this is their first time voting in a presidential election. Olivia Berger was at the early voting location at South Gym to find out why first-time voters were eager to cast their ballot.
Early voting occurred October 17th to November 2nd. During this time, many college students were having the experience of voting for the first time.
I feel like it's really important that young voices are heard because it's the next generation, and we're the ones who are being impacted the most with this new voting season, because we're the ones that are gonna grow up with these new leaders, and I feel like getting your voice heard is really important, especially at a young age.
Elon Votes is a nonpartisan campus program designed to equip students with the resources they need to register and vote in upcoming elections. They held voter registration drives across campus and open office hours throughout the semester for people to ask questions.
I think it was really influential, especially knowing people on Elon Votes and having that sort of connection of, okay, hey, I know you. They would say, hey, come sign up to register to vote, and it would be easy and seamless.
I got registered with Elon Votes, and they made the whole process super seamless, and it literally just took 10 minutes to just drive here and vote, and so it's super easy.
College students are not the only ones experiencing the voting process for the first time. One voter, Ifoma Ode, received her citizenship in 2020, making this her first time eligible to vote in a presidential election.
I guess I swore it's my civic duty that I have to perform, so I'm doing it. It's the right thing to do. It's a privilege. There are countries people are not able to vote, so hey, you have it. Let your voice be known.
Olivia Berger, ENN Tonight.
It is now 7:30 p.m. and polls have closed. Let's take a look at the Elon polling location and talk to Olivia Berger about what's happened. Olivia, can you give us an update?
Thanks, Abigail. It's now 7:31 and polls are now closed in North Carolina, except for 2 precincts, one in Burke County and one in Wilson County. AP News reported at 4:54 p.m. that 2 precincts were having technical problems and they will now be closing at 8 p.m. Voters at the Wilson County precinct were unable to cast ballots for almost an hour and a half because a print needed to generate voter authorization malfunctioned. Burke County experienced a 30 to 40-minute computer problem with an official poll book laptop. The state board will not publish unofficial results from Burke and Wilson counties until voting ends. Results from North Carolina's other 98 counties, including Alamance, can be reported at normal closing time. I'm currently here with Bev, who is a precinct captain for the Democratic Party. Bev, tell me, why did you choose to volunteer your time today?
I think I chose to volunteer because there is so much, we feel there is so much at stake in this election, more than any other election. I'm 65 years old, more than any other election that I can think of.
What work have you done today, as well as in the past few weeks, to get ready for Election Day, and what have you done today?
Well, I'll start a couple weeks ago. I wrote 270 postcards, and actually about 200 of them went for a person who's running for senator in Ohio, where I'm originally from. I've delivered food on the last early voting day. I delivered food today. I did souls to the polls. I took someone out to snow camp, which is about the opposite side of this county. And then, I put up all the, as poll chair, I put up all the signs last night for the Democratic Party. Then my husband and I were here at 6 o'clock to get the table and material out, and then that's taking the signs down now.
How has the voter outcome been this year, and what have you seen?
Well, we know that the voting count for North Carolina, early voting, was amazing. In fact, higher than the total vote at least 2 years ago. I may be wrong, about 4 years ago. But so I've been told that it's been fairly steady, but nothing like early voting really accommodated so many different people that we had the majority there. So today wasn't quite as busy.
How are you feeling now that the polls are closed?
Probably mixed. I don't want to begrudge anything or anyone, but I don't want to come out and say that Kamala has won, because I'm afraid I will jinx it, as silly as that sounds.
And how has the election personally affected you?
My grandchildren are biracial. Even though I am a white middle-class woman, if 2025, along with Donald Trump, comes into power, then so many of us will be impacted, and especially people of more marginal communities and ethnicities.
Thank you so much, Bev. That's all I have for you right now. Back to you guys in the studio.
ENN Charlotte Fabi is here to give us a rundown on the local candidates from the Alamance County Board of Commissioners. Charlotte, why are these candidates running for a seat?
Yeah, thanks, Abby. Well, the Board of Commissioners does hold key responsibilities, and they adopt the annual budget and set the tax rate for the county. However, this just in, with 0 out of 39 precincts reported, David Barber ran uncontested for Alamance County Register of Deeds, and Elon News Network projects him as the winner of this race. Back to the current Board of Commissioners race, we also see that voters are deciding to either re-elect 2 incumbents or bring fresh perspectives, with 4 first-time candidates running for the board. Current commissioners running for re-election include John Paisley Jr. and Pamela Tyler Thompson. Paisley, a Republican and board chair, has been serving on the board since 2014. Although he ran unsuccessfully in his first attempt that same year, he was later elected in 2016 and is currently serving his 3rd term. An Elon University alum, Paisley focused on fiscal responsibility, particularly in the wake of the financial strain caused by the Alamance Burlington school system mold outbreak. Pamela Tyler Thompson, on the other hand, is also a Republican and is seeking re-election after first being elected to the board in 2020. Thompson has made her mark with efforts to support veterans and those struggling with addiction. During her time in office, Thompson played a key role in bringing the Alamance Behavioral Health Center to the county, which opened this summer and provides resources for individuals battling addiction. Thompson's platform continues to focus on mental health and recovery. In addition to the 4 incumbents, 4 first-time candidates are also running: Carissa Graves, Chris Smith, Anthony Pierce, and Ed Priola. Priola, also a Republican, is running with a promise to cut property taxes and reduce spending within the Alamance Burlington school system, particularly in the aftermath of the mold outbreaks that have caused significant disruption and cost. Priola has stated that he would prioritize educators over administrators and has proposed eliminating end-of-year holiday bonuses as a part of his plans to refocus resources onto teaching. Carissa Graves, Chris Smith, and Anthony Pierce are also newcomers to local politics. Among them, Chris Smith, a Democrat, began attending Board of Commissioners meetings and school board meetings during the mold crisis, which he says shaped his views on improving the system's response to crises and better allocating resources. As we dive deeper into these local candidates, let's also take a look at what voting in Alamance County is looking like for this election. North Carolina is experiencing a historical surge in early voting for the 2024 election, setting a new turnout record according to preliminary data. From the State Board of Elections, they say that more than 4.2 million North Carolinians have cast their ballots during the early voting period, which ended on Saturday afternoon. Including absentee ballots, this represents a little less than 57% of the state's 7.8 million registered voters. Compared to the 2020 election, early voting has increased in North Carolina. In 2020, 3.6 million ballots were cast during that same early voting period. Over 3.2 million mail-in ballots were requested in North Carolina, and this surge in early voting is not unique to North Carolina because nationwide, early voting is also on the rise. Over 8 million mail-in ballots were cast 80 million, mail-in ballots and early in-person ballots were cast across the United States as voters take advantage of expanded voting options ahead of the 2024 presidential election.
Concerns over the outcome of the general election are a hot topic of conversation. In a recent email from Elon Vice President for Student Life, John Dooley says Elon will have resources available for students after the election. However, for some Elon students, the results of the election aren't a major concern.
Anxiety over the election is an increasing trend among U.S. voters. A recent poll from the American Psychological Association found that the future of the nation is a significant source of stress for more than 7 in 10 adults. And around a third of adults said the current political climate causes strain for them and their family members. However, after speaking to some Elon students, the experience of voting for the first time overshadows many of their concerns.
It's nice just to be able to actually be like, hey, my voice was an impact on this election.
For Noah Malian, anxiety isn't high over the results of this election.
Just hearing people's thoughts on everything, I'm fairly confident people are going to make the right decision for our country and for the Constitution.
However, Malian says people should be more focused on local rather than national elections.
Down ballot and state elections matter a ton because those elections also affect people more directly at home.
For other students who live out of state, they chose to change their voter registration to vote in North Carolina, making their vote count whether they vote in or out of state.
Every vote counts no matter who it's for. Just, I feel like you should get out there. If you have the opportunity, you should do it.
Charlotte Fabi, ENN Tonight.
The North Carolina State Senate District 25 and the North Carolina House of Representatives District 63 and 64 have 2 candidates campaigning. The U.S. House of Representatives District 9 has 3 candidates. ENN's Fiona McAllister is back in the studio to talk about 2 of their campaigns.
Thanks, Abigail. With 0 out of 39 precincts reported, Larry Brown Jr. ran uncontested for NC District Court Judge, District 17, Seat 2, and ENN projects him as the winner of this race. And with 0 out of 39 precincts reported, Catherine Whitaker Overby ran uncontested for North Carolina District Court Judge, District 17, Seat 4, and ENN projects her as the winner of this race. That's all I have for you. Now back to you at the desk.
Thanks, Fiona. We are now heading to the Josh Stein watch party with ENN's Monica Juravicius. Monica, what have you seen tonight?
Hey Abigail, we're just getting started at the Stein campaign tonight as they're holding their watch party in Raleigh. This is starting to fill up with people who are waiting to see what the results will be tonight. According to an Elon University poll, Stein is currently ahead of his challenger, Mark Robinson, by 21 points. ENN reported at Kamala Harris's campaign stop in North Carolina on October 30th, where Stein talked about his political opponent and the Republican presidential candidate, Donald Trump, saying, and I quote, "Donald Trump and Mark Robinson's plan is one of violence, division, and hate. We want to build a better future. We choose hope over hate. We choose competence over chaos." Stein's professional career consists of being a lawyer, former state senator, and attorney general for North Carolina at the moment. Stein has proposed plans for the economy, which include raising minimum wage and implementing the working families tax cut, while also advocating for the LGBTQ+ communities. On October 19th, Josh Stein visited Alamance County Democratic Party in Burlington, focusing on public school funding. He said that the state is currently 42nd in starting teacher pay and 49th in per pupil investment, which is about how much a school invests in each student. We spoke to Democratic Lieutenant Governor candidate Rachel Hunt about an hour ago here at the party, and she mentioned the need to increase school funding in North Carolina as well. More can be found on Elon News Network's Election Center. Sending it back to you at the desk.
Thanks, Monica. Josh Stein outlined his vision for North Carolina on the campaign trail. I learned more on what Stein hopes to accomplish as governor. Stein, Democratic candidate for governor of North Carolina, outlined his platform in the Alamance County Democratic Party headquarters. Stein discussed his personal connection to the state and how he plans to promise a brighter future for North Carolinians.
I'm running for governor because I love our home state. And I believe in its promise that if you work hard, where you come from should never limit how far you can go.
Stein has served as Attorney General for the past 8 years and says he's proud of the work he's done.
Whether it's tackling the opioid and fentanyl crisis that has devastated families and communities across North Carolina, by leading the national bipartisan coalition of state attorneys general to take those drug companies to court and winning more than $50 billion.
Stein contrasted his plans for office with Mark Robinson's, the Republican candidate for governor.
The vision of my opponent in this race and the Republican supermajority in the General Assembly is one of division, violence, and hate.
North Carolina is a swing state, and Stein emphasized how votes are critical at both the state and national level.
And because the path to the White House runs right through North Carolina, we have the power to shape the future not only of North Carolina, but this nation and the world.
Abigail Hines, ENN Tonight. Josh Stein's opponent, Mark Robinson, has also been on the road rallying voters. Fiona has what Robinson has to offer.
In a close call, Republican candidates joined Robinson's rally in encouraging their small but mighty crowd to
go Republican all the way from the top to the bottom
on their ballots. But these supporters were most excited to see Mark Robinson.
Mark is going to be here. He's going to be our next governor. That's why I'm here.
We did many rallies with Mark, and like I said, he's just such a great friend and great to be able to help each other get along.
Robinson rolled up onto the speedway and delivered some words of encouragement.
And so, folks, I am telling you, if you have not voted, when you go to the polls, it's time to get there. And when you do, you go and you vote for policies, not people.
And with that, Robinson also expressed his feelings about news coverage and biased reporting.
I was actually in Israel, in the war zone, in country, standing with the Jewish people in Israel, taking a huge risk. Very little news coverage. When the CNN story broke, everybody was knocking on my door. When I went to Israel, not one reporter came and knocked on my door and asked me about the things that I saw and experienced there.
Through the ups and downs, Robinson has supporters with unconditional encouragement.
Because I love Mark Robinson and I love Yolanda. I've known them for a long time. They're good people, salt of the earth, and they're good friends of ours.
It's a great day. You know, it's been a long, grueling campaign for everybody. Mark Robinson's a great friend of mine.
I needed to make sure that my vote was going to be in there and count to get the people I want. Mark.
Fiona McAllister, ENN Tonight.
Join us again in just 30 minutes as we continue our live coverage of tonight's election. We'll have more of the latest results, analysis, and in-the-field reporting. Stay with ENN's Election Center. We'll be right back.